Hello there, my name is Ken Masters. I've come from Newcastle, United Kingdom, and I'm an MC, or as some people prefer to call it, a rapper, uh, MC, lyricist, poet, wordsmith, whatever you want to call it. Basically, I like to play with words and put them to a beat. Um, I've been I've been writing lyrics and performing them and recording them for most of my life. And it's something that I really enjoy. Why do I enjoy it? I guess it allows me to kind of express myself in a very unique way. It allows me to put my feelings across. Sometimes things that are really personal and close to me. Sometimes things about opinions and things that I see in the wider world and society today, and also just having fun and maybe bragging a bit and talking about myself. Every rapper likes to talk about themselves quite a lot. That's a kind of standard of the industry. So that's kind of a little bit of what I'm about also. On a deeper level, writing lyrics and performing them and recording them and hearing them back and having those ideas, it really kind of allows me to get to know myself a lot better. As someone with a diagnosis of autism, I find that understanding myself and understanding how my brain works is a lot easier by kind of interpreting the world and the things around me through lyricism and through writing lyrics. So that really helps me and makes me feel, it puts me in a good place. And I find that when I'm able to express myself that way, it's when I feel really comfortable. And that's also, I guess, in a way, helped me overcome some of my social anxiety that I have due to autism, because I have a passion so much for wordplay that it overrides the fact that I might be a little bit shy in social surroundings. So it makes me prioritize what's more important to me, and what's more important is that I get to play with words and express myself in this very unique way that I love so much. Okay, so for this particular video, I've been asked to write something based on something that I might be reading or text that inspires me. So what I've chosen is something that maybe some of you will identify with. My daughter at the minute is reading Harry Potter. So J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. She's read the first one, she's on to the second book. Admittedly, we used some other references outside of the first couple of editions because I used Google as well to kind of see what other references I could bring. But we'll get into how I wrote it later on. I need to put my headphones on. This is how it goes. Yeah. Musical magic, lyrical wizardry, magician of apparition conjuring up the imagery. Branch out like whomping willow as I make like a tree and leave instrumental incantations composed on the HP. Ride the boom babe like a broomstick. Nimbus 2000, the new whip. Golden Snitsy could take you out like a school trip. Better sup on some pepper up potion, cause I'm too sick. Move slick through diagonally. Open the griffin door. Show my talents. Gripping a mic with the raven's claw. Hogs meat fountain and knowledge from the depths of the west well. Throw words together letter by letter. Cast the SBLL. Expelliarmus. Every bar's in a paraseum. Revealing hidden meaning. Sometimes it's hard to see him. Like Evanesco. Aguamenti the fresh flow. Quicker than you can say confringo, the lingo explodes. As the wisdom grows under the old head wig, let's dig into the definition of what is real. Apparitions and bellatrix of the mind can still produce feelings as real as solid steel. The subconscious inspires a goblet of fire, or at least that's how a stone cold philosopher feels. All things in existence constantly spinning within him, so you could say this is my potter's wheel. Okay, so how was that verse written? How did it come about? Where did I start? Let's delve into that. Okay, so I guess there's some parameters, some rules and structures in rap writing that are good to know and useful, to kind of a useful starting point. and one of them is the count of beats and bars. A bar is a measurement of time and space in music, in which the music is played, and beats are other units of measurement within that bar, just like centimeters are units of measurement within a meter. And that's how we measure the music. So a good thing to know is that the beat is always going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, etc., etc. Yeah, it's always going around. That cycle is always there in all of the music you listen to. If it's this certain time signature, we'll not get too complicated, but most music has this count of 4 going in it, even if you can hear it or not. And that's a good basis to kind of ground writing lyrics to. Okay. The reason for that is because you can base your rhyming couplets, which is basically 2 lines that rhyme, on that count. For example, if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th word is a word that you want to use, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, the number 4 then will be the word that corresponds with that first word, the word that rhymes with it. Okay. So in my verse, I used the first line was musical magic, lyrical wizardry, a magician of apparition conjuring up the imagery. Okay, so it kind of goes like this: 1, 2, 3, wizardry. 1, 2, 3, imagery. Okay, I'm kind of structuring my verse where the count is always present, and I'm aware of the count, and I'm basing the way that I structure my words and sculpt my words in my verse around that count, so that I've always got something to, I guess, to anchor to ground to. Okay, it helps. The next thing to think about is, how are you going to approach writing the lyrics? What are you going to use in terms of practically what are you going to put the lyrics down on? Okay, some people like to use their phone. You may have a notes function on your phone. And some people like to use a pen and a pad. I use both. I used to write a lot more lyrics on A4 paper, and I would recommend that most people do that simply because it's really good for mapping out the 1, 2, 3, 4 for each line. If you can see my verse here, it's got each line is a count of 4, and that continues all the way down, so that when you look at your sheet, you can kind of see how the verse is structured just by looking at it. Equally, you might feel comfortable just writing down on a phone. Either way, that's up to you. Now you know what you're going to use to write those lyrics on. How are you going to kind of draw in the information that you already have at hand and kind of piece it together? Well, this is just how an individual's mind works, and it's up to you really to kind of see how that pans out. But that's the beauty of art and making and creating things, is that each person's going to give something a different interpretation and a different spin. Okay, so let's delve into how I actually wrote my verse. Okay, I wrote my verse, this particular verse, on my phone. So I had my phone to hand, and before that, prior to that, I'd read some Harry Potter. I'd sat down and watched one of the movies with my family, and then so I had my phone in hand with Google at hand as well. So Google's quite a good tool to draw in other references or things that you might not be too sure about that might work, and I'll go into that a little bit further on. But initially, I'm just writing down as much information as I can that I think would be useful. Words that sound good, very significant pieces of the story. So I might put, I might put, well, Harry Potter is one thing. Okay, I might put Hogwarts, Dumbledore. I came up with so many different words to do with it. I also thought about, what is it about? It's about magic, it's about wizards and witches, it's about spells, incantations, and so I kind of thought about all the different words that I know that were related to what Harry Potter was about. And so I had like all these ingredients, much like a witch has ingredients in the cauldron. and I'm kind of thinking about now how to piece these together. So that's when I go back to my 4 count, and I know about my beats and bars now and how everything should fit in the structure, and I start thinking about my opening line was really important. So I thought, what's my opening line gonna be? Well, what is it about? Okay, so my opening line is musical magic, lyrical wizardry. Okay, and that kind of sets the precedent. It kind of sets the tone for what's about to come and what the verse is about. And from there on, I took as many of my ideas and put them into verse form. Now, not all verses come in order. You don't always write a verse from start to finish. Like you don't, you know, each line you work on. Sometimes you might think of a line that stands by itself, and it's sitting somewhere on the page. It may be sitting in the margin. It might just be kind of scribbled in rough at the top of the page. And then once you kind of have all these bits, you can kind of piece them together like a jigsaw. Okay, so not all of those parts of my verse were written in order. I just kind of drew out the information that was floating around in my head, and got to certain points where I would maybe I was stuck in certain points, and I thought, how am I going to glue this together? So maybe you have a word for your first part of your couplet, your rhyming couplet, and you've got the word, and you can think of something that rhymes with that word, but you can't think how it's relevant to your subject matter. So for instance, there was a point where I was trying to think about something that rhymed with spell, because I wanted to do the cast a spell thing. Yeah, so I wanted to think of something that rhymes with spell, but I couldn't think of anything that was relevant in my collection of words. But I knew that bell rhymes with spell. I did a little Google, Harry Potter, bell, and then it came up with this thing about the West Well as well. So then that kind of opened up another channel of information for me to kind of feed into my verse. Okay, so that's basically how it all came together. There are many ways we can approach writing lyrics. This is just one. This is the way that I approach it. You might put a different spin on it, and I hope that some of the advice that I've given you has given you the ability to maybe go out and try writing something that is about something that you are interested in, or something that motivates you or inspires you. So take those little pieces of advice, and hopefully you can write something of your own, and I'd love to hear it. And good luck. This is Ken Masters saying peace, and one love to all the Harry Potter readers out there.